we'll get back to meeting in person, honestly.
You guys are live on YouTube and officially recording.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, residents of the town of Dayton. This is the Town of Dayton Planning Board regular meeting / public hearing held remotely on Wednesday, June 17, 2020 at 6 p.m. Due to the increasing concerns surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic, this public hearing will be held remotely with no physical meeting location. Those seeking to provide public input should do so using the methods listed below. Video and audio of the meeting will be aired on Comcast Local TV 9 at a later date. A live recording of the meeting will be available on the Town of Dayton YouTube channel, which can be accessed using this link, www.youtube.com/Town of Dayton, /Town of Dayton. Public input phone line during the meeting is 508-669-6431, extension 114. Leave a voicemail if necessary. Public input email before or during the meeting is at keasterday, and again, keasterday at Dayton/mass.gov, -.mass.gov. So it's keasterday at Dayton-mass.gov. Use the email subject line, public meeting /hearing, June 17, 2020, public input, and include your name and address for the record. I'm officially going to call this meeting to order. If everyone would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, gentlemen. And Mrs. Easterday. At this time, I'm going to step down and ask Mr. Boner, who was our longest ranking member, to run the meeting. This time we're going to reorganize the board. The first order of business would be to pick a chairman. Mr. Boner, you have the floor, sir.
I would like to nominate Mr. Timothy Rhines as chairman of the Dayton Planning Board.
Mr. Boner, I will accept.
I will second that.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? If none, we'll vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Boner. I do accept the position as chair. Thank you, gentlemen, for having that confidence in me. At this time, I'm going to entertain a motion for a vice chairman. Do I hear any nominations?
I will nominate Robert Boner for chairman, vice chairman.
Do I hear a second? Do I hear a second for vice chairman for the planning board?
Can I do a first and second? There's only three of us.
Mr. Boner, I'm going to ask you the question. I know that you're a very busy man.
Yes.
And I can always go back and work with you if you are willing to accept and let you know everything that's going on. That's the position is up to you, sir.
That will be fine. I will accept.
At this time, I will step down and second the motion to appoint Mr. Robert Boner as the vice chairman of the planning board. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote individually. Gentlemen, Mr. Figueredo.
Aye.
Mr. Boner.
Aye.
Mr. Cavallo.
Aye.
Mr. Rhines. Aye. The motion carries 4-0. Mr. Boner, thank you, sir.
You're entirely welcome.
At this time, I am going to entertain a motion to confirm the next meeting date of July 15/15/2020.
I will second that motion.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion on the next meeting dates? Hearing none, let's vote by roll call. Mr. Boner.
Aye.
Mr. Figueredo.
Aye.
Mr. Cavallo.
Aye.
Mr. Rhines? Aye. Take it, it carries 4-0. Our next order of business is to reopen the public hearing for a special permit extension request for 0 Elm Street, map 24, lot 37. Do I hear a motion?
Excuse me, Mr. Rhines, we're not
Yes.
reopening there's no hearing to
It's-
reopen for that matter.
We're continuing.
Yep.
Excuse me, that would be a continuance of the public hearing.
No. Are you talking about you're doing the special permit extension request, correct?
Oh, I'm sorry, I bypassed that. I'm sorry. Let me get out of that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Excuse me.
So what we're doing is the matter regarding 0 Elm Street.
Correct. I'm just pulling it up right now, and I will read that information to the
Okay.
members.
I just want to clarify, we're not reopening a public hearing because the matter's already closed and the decision's been made, but the request
Okay.
is to extend the special permit because the special permit expires after 2 years if no action is made.
Okay, so gentlemen, at this time, I'm going to read the communication from our office manager. As dear planning board members, I'm respectfully requesting an extension be made to the special permit attached to lot number 37 on Elm Street in Dayton, Massachusetts. I purchased the property in January of 2020. The special permit was granted in June of 2018 and filed by the town clerk in July of 2018 with a 2-year life, which presumably makes the expiration of this permit this coming July 2020. Given the short period from the time I purchased the property to the time the special permit expires, I was not able to begin construction, which would nullify the deadline of the special permit. Also, the ongoing global pandemic has altered plans for construction in many ways. It is for these reasons that I am respectfully requesting extensions to the special permit. Thank you for your consideration in the matter. Sincerely, Mr. Alan D. Fisher, residents of 4163 Riverside Avenue, Somerset, Massachusetts, 02726, and E.B. Research, 508-324-5513. I will entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion. So moved.
Motion has been made and second to extend the special permits for lot 37 on Elm Street.
Do we have a duration of time on that?
It was not requested of the applicant.
Correct. So we want to make sure we put a time limit on that. So either 1 or 2 years usually is what we do.
Yeah, I would say at least a year. I would go a year at a time anyway.
We just gave 2 years on the other one. So I thought that would be appropriate.
Okay.
We don't. know.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Mr. Cavallo, what is your opinion on this?
Mr.
Mr.
Cavallo.
Cavallo?
Oh, sorry, Mr. Cavallo, that's me. Yeah, I'm reading the same thing here, and I'm saying it was originally 2 years, so I think it'd be appropriate to extend it an additional 2 years as well.
All right, so we want to go with a 2-year time frame. I'll entertain a motion to extend that special permit for a 2-year time period until July of 2022.
I'll make that motion.
Motion's been made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bona. Any further discussion on the extension? Hearing none, let's vote individually. Roll call. Mr. Boner.
Aye.
Mr. Figueredo.
Aye.
Mr. Cavallo.
Aye.
Mr. Rhines. Aye. Thank you, gentlemen. The vote carries 4-0. On to the next order of business. That is to review, discuss, and act.
No, now we want to continue the public hearing. For the solar.
Okay, so at this time, I would like to entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for special permit, for the public hearing for BWC Greenbrook LLC Solar Site Plan Special Permit for 900 Tremont Street, map 8, lot 27, and 0, and 624 Middle Street, maps 8, lots 31 and 80.
I'll make that motion.
Motion been made, and we have a second. Motion been made and seconded by Mr. Cavallo. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Excuse me, let me do a roll call again, gentlemen. I made that mistake. Mr. Bona?
Aye.
Mr. Figueredo?
Aye.
Mr. Cavallo?
Aye.
Mr. Rhines? Aye. Thank you, gentlemen. At this time, we're going to have a presentation by the applicants.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Bob Field Engineering. I believe there's some members of BWC on as well. Filling in for Rich Riccio, as I said, my understanding is this is a follow-up meeting after, because at the last meeting, the board wanted to review the site and review what the proposed screening was going to be and how, and see how that was going to look on site, and be happy to try to answer any questions on that screening, or was that found to be satisfactory?
I'll just speak for myself, and I'll just say this to Mr. Bona and Mr. Cavallo. Mr. Figueredo and I did a site visit walkthrough, and we found that there were no problems with any type of site vision back to the street on Middle Street or on to Tremont Street. So at this time, I thought the site visit was it was pretty much the walkthrough was done in a couple of minutes. It was just a formality. I hate to say that.
Sure. With
Go ahead.
but I don't really have anything to add then, if there were any questions on that issue.
No, I don't have
No,
any.
go ahead, Mr. Figueredo.
I honestly have none of whatsoever on this here. I thought the place was very well out in the woods. There's no visibility from the road, so I say there is no issues on my end.
Yeah, I would concur, honestly, with Mr. Figueredo's statement, so I have no issues at this time myself. Is Mr. Pearson on?
Mr. Peters.
Yeah. Hi.
Drew, how
I'm
you
on.
doing? How are you this evening?
I'm good.
Yeah, we just discussing, I'm sure you've been hearing the conversation. We did the site visit, myself and Mr. Figueredo, and there were no visibility issues. And I honestly thought that it was laid out very well in the plans and self-explanatory.
Good. Yeah, we're glad to hear that. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, we did. No, Mr. Pearson, I just had a question from a resident at one time.
Yep.
Is the state still working to up the amount of wattage, megawatts going into the grid? Are they still negotiating that?
On a program level?
Yes.
Yeah, they've already committed to doubling the program.
Okay. I thought I had read that somewhere. That was just a question I had. It doesn't reflect any way, shape, or form on the system itself that we're discussing. So,
Sure.
Mr. Bona, do you have any questions at this time?
I do not, sir. I take you and Mr. Figueredo's opinion to heart, and I believe the site visit went well, and so I take you for your word.
Mrs. Easter, I have a question. Do we have Mr. Williams on this evening? Is he with us at all?
Mr.
Because it did say on the paperwork that there was going to be a presentation by our engineer.
Mr. Williams is not online today, so I don't think he has anything to add. So I had it there just in case there was any issues with the site walk or anything. So it was more of a formality than anything.
Yeah, and I do believe Mr. Williams sent down the paperwork that was necessary on the engineering on his side, so. And I did read that. I believe, Mr. Cavallo, did you get that also? Did you just receive that, the paperwork from Mr. Williams in regards to BWC?
I'm looking at the packet. I don't know if there's anything in addition to this packet that was sent out.
I may have forgotten to send you that.
So I have a question about this project. It's more business in nature question, not a planning board question. What's the nature of this installation once it goes in? Is it going to feed the grid for a private business, or is this going for the municipality? What's the overall plan for the energy being produced here?
Yeah, the array is going to be a community solar array. And my colleague Jackie Firsty is on the line, and I know that she's contacted the town about interest in potentially selling a portion of the electricity credits to the town of Dayton. I don't know if she wants to weigh in there, but generally speaking, yes, this will be a community solar project.
Yeah, I can add. We are in conversation with the town right now. They're interested in having some offtake from the project, so that is definitely something that's on our radar and what we'd like to pursue.
Thank you.
But initially, it's for private power credits?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Bode, do you have any questions?
I do not, sir.
Mr. Figueredo, any questions?
Not at this moment. No, thank you.
So at this time, I am going to entertain public inputs. Mrs. Easterday, do we have any public inputs?
I do have a couple of old emails that were sent after our last public hearing to be read into record.
Okay.
And then as nothing updated from that time, nothing from my new emails as of now. So if you want me to start with the old emails first, I have a Stephanie Suarez, who's a resident living on Elm Street in Dayton. She does not agree with installing and moving forward with another solar panel project. They are not as effective and in the long run would be more costly and devastating to our loved farmland and wooded areas we call home. Dayton has always been known for its beautiful land and would be heartbreaking to many to turn our small town into an area filled with more solar panels. Please consider my thoughts and many other residents' opinions before making such a permanent decision for our town. Thank you for allowing our input, Stephanie. Then I have a Susan Arujo, who is from Tremont Street, and she does not want to see a solar farm on Tremont and Middle Street. She requests that you please leave this land for farming use only. That's what Dayton is all about. Donate the land to a local farm. She lives on Tremont Street, and I'd love to see this land left alone. And then my last one is from a Justin Pacheco. Lifelong and soon to so a lifelong. His name is Justin Pacheco, and I've been part of the town of Dayton since birth. I grew up riding my bike down these streets with friends. Please don't move forward with the solar project. It would be such a shame to see one of Dayton's beautiful fields turned into such an eyesore. This would become a huge eyesore to all residents and people passing through. This is truly a heartbreaking thing. Dayton residents take pride in the rural lifestyle. That's why many stay for their whole life and others move here to start their families. Dayton used to be known for its strawberries. Please let it stay a good farming town, not a solar one. The day farming dies is the day Dayton's spirit dies. Please, please, please reconsider. Thank you for your consideration, a lifelong Dayton resident from birth to soon to be first time homeowner, Justin Pacheco. And then I have no further Just double checking my emails. Hold on. No further emails or phone calls.
Thank you, Mr. Ruthzay. I'd like to thank the public for sending in their input to the planning board. I just want to comment that the solar array that is going to be on Tremont and Middle, which wraps around the corner of the Cabral Farm, that's a dual-use system. That is part of an agricultural restriction that's going to be used, I'm sorry, not a restriction, but it's going to be dual use, where the state is coming in where the panels in the array is going to be 12 to 14 feet above the ground and crops will be grown underneath. I believe that Mrs. Racine wants to do the same thing. Mr. Pearson, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. And in fact, our farm plan for Miss Racine's property has been approved by the state. So what it will entail is a mixed plan for rotation, rotating animals for grazing, squash, and other ground crops.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Pearson.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Do any of the members have anything they'd like to add?
No, sir.
I don't.
Mr. Bono?
Nothing here from Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. Cavallo. John, with that being said, I'm going to... Jerry, do you want me to close, or are we going to continue this public hearing? Because we're not going to vote this evening, is that correct?
That's up to the board. We do have to keep in mind that it has to be a majority vote for the approval. So it wouldn't be a unanimous vote, so it has to be a majority vote. So we do have to keep that in mind. And then we do have the conditions that will be set forth as noted by Mr. Williams, the engineer, that he set pretty much, which would be the standard that we did for the Tremont Street. I know he noted at our last meeting that there was going to be a condition, forgive me, something about a stormwater, something with stormwater, if I believe.
Yes, that's correct. I believe they need to have the approval from the Board of Health of Stormwater and also from the fire chief.
Right, but there was also something with the EPA, and I'm just going through my documents right now. If you give me 1 second.
Yeah, if you look on page 17, it says the conditions as the applicant shall obtain a stormwater permit from the Board of Health. And then the applicant
That's
shall.
a little bit different. No, that's a little bit different though from what Peter was noting. I'm just going, bear with me for a minute. I'm just going to see if I can quote it just by pulling it up. He just wanted to ensure that something was in there. And then while I'm looking that up, he also stated that the standard conditions would apply to the Middle Street property, as well as the conditions that he noted in all of his reviews, which was pretty standard with the Tremont as well. But other than that, it's up to you guys on how you want to move forward.
Where are those additional conditions documented if it's not here in this thing that was recorded on?
It's on his report, and it was actually posted at our last public hearing on June 3rd. Was it June 3rd that we met? No, it was, I'm sorry. It was May, sorry, my date.
20th, I think.
Thank you. The May 20th when we had our last public hearing.
Correct.
So we had all of his reports there. So just bear with me for 1 minute.
Let me get out of there.
Those are his responses. I don't want that. Or I just look at your notes.
I also just wanted to make a note that this is, we need to have two separate votes, one for the modification on Tremont Street for the trackers and the battery storage, and as well as the vote to approve the Middle Street project. So I just wanted to make sure that was,
Correct. So it would be two separate votes. One vote would be for the modification of the permit, and the second vote would be for the new application for the Middle Street property.
yes, thank you.
So we have, project, Mr. William recommends that the condition to the modification include a construction period pollution prevention erosion sedimentation control plan. That's why I couldn't remember it. As required by the Massachusetts Stormwater Standard. So if he had noted that if it wasn't in the original, decision, he wanted to make sure that if we did the modification, that was included.
Okay.
Has that modification been done?
So if I go back to my packet, follows the decision conditions. So it doesn't look like that was included in the original. The only thing that was required as done was the 2 weeks prior to commencement of site clearing, they submit a final EPA stormwater pollution prevention plan. So I'm not sure, and forgive me because I'm not too familiar, whether that's the same thing or a part of a stormwater pollution prevention plan. That makes sense. So in condition number 2 of the original approval for the Tremont Street property, they wanted 2 weeks prior to commencement of the site clearing, they had to submit a final stormwater pollution prevention plan. What Mr. Williams was requesting was that a construction period pollution prevention / erosion sedimentation control plan as required. So it sounds like that might be the same thing.
Yeah,
I could be
this is
wrong.
Bob Field. I
Sounds
would
like
say
it could be.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a standard EPA requirement for any
Okay.
construction that's going to disturb an acre or more of land. That has to be
Okay.
filed
With the
2
EPA.
weeks prior to commencement.
So that is the same thing. So it's already included in our decision for the Tremont Street property. So we're all set on that part. So I'm not sure if I answered the question or if I made it worse, but.
So just that I understand this, so everything was approved for the Tremont Street. So now we just need to approve the Middle Street.
Correct.
No. What we,
Yeah.
no, you
Yeah.
haven't approved the modification. Because they had to modify the Tremont Street
Yeah.
property.
Modify Tremont. Yes, that's right.
So that's a modification. So you need to approve the modification for the Tremont Street part. Then you also have to approve the special permit for the Middle Street property. So if you recall, the Tremont Street property, they expanded their array just a little bit. They had to change the design of the solar a little bit. And then they also there was one more item. I'm trying to think, there was one more, forgive me. I'm going back through my minutes now. So the modification consists of an increase from 2.8 to 2.9, a modification of the layout to the array. And then they also added a second equipment pad for energy storage. So that's the modification to the Tremont Street that needs to be approved.
Okay, Can we work on that and then move on to the next one?
And then
Yes.
you would do the approval for the Middle Street property.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the modification of the Fremont Street.
Do I hear a second?
Second from Jeff.
Motion made second. Any further discussion on the modification for Tremont Street? Hearing none, let's vote. Roll call. Mr. Figurito.
Aye.
Mr. Bona.
Aye.
Mr. Cavallo.
Aye.
Mr. Rhines. Aye. Thank you, gentlemen. At this time, I'm going to entertain a motion. Just want to get my wording correctly, to accept the plan special permit for 0 and 624 Middle Streets, map 8, lots 31 and lots 80.
I will second.
Motion's been made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. Roll call. Mr. Figurito.
Aye.
Mr. Bonner.
Aye.
Mr. Cavallo.
Aye.
Mr. Rhines. Aye. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay. So
You're
I
very
would,
welcome. Mr. Pearson, Mr. Ward, Mrs. Firsty, Bob up in the corner, thank you for attending our meeting. We look forward to working with you continually through this project. I'm sure that some of the members are going to probably be stopping by, including myself, during different phases. And hopefully with this pandemic, you'll be able to possibly start construction soon. But that's to be determined, as they say, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we greatly thank you. Really appreciate all of the, the collaborative, the collaborative discussion and interest that the board has taken in this project. We look forward to hopefully starting construction by the fourth quarter of this year is our target, and we will be sure to keep you updated. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Pearson. On behalf of the board, I would just like to just make the statement that I've done this, only for a short time, but I've dealt with many companies in past businesses of life that I've worked in. And I would have to say that Blue Wave Solar, you should be very proud of your presentations and how you present yourself. And we appreciate that.
The feeling's mutual. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Bye.
So with that being said, we are going to review, discuss, and act on next public hearing date or act on special permits. Mrs. Easterday, if you would, please.
that actually was for the matter that we just closed.
Okay, so that was just a
So you
continuing.
You want to officially close the public hearing now.
Okay, so at this time, I'm going to entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Mr.
second.
Figurito, motion has been made by Mr. Figurito, seconded by Mr. Bona. Any further discussion on closing the public hearing? Hearing none, let's vote. Roll call. Mr. Bona.
Aye.
Mr. Figurito.
Aye.
Mr. Cavallo.
Aye.
Mr. Rhines. Aye. Jeff, you got a great smile, by the way. At this time, I'm going to entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes of May 20, 2020. We're going to do these separately, gentlemen.
Okay. I will make a motion to approve meeting minutes from May 20th, 2020.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
Motion has been made and seconded by Mr. Figueroa. Any further discussion on approving the meeting minutes of May 20? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye. Individually, gentlemen, roll call. Mr. Bona.
Aye.
Mr. Figueroa.
Aye.
Mr. Cavallo.
Am I allowed to abstain here? I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yes, you are, sir.
Okay.
We have an
I'll
extension.
I'll abstain, please.
Mr. Cavallo abstains. He was not a member of the board at that time. Mr. Rhines, I say aye. Vote carries 3-0. Gentlemen, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes of June 30 of 2020.
I will make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from June 3rd, 2020.
Motion being made by Mr. Bono. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Figueredo. Gentlemen, let's vote. All in, by roll call, please. Mr. Bono.
Aye.
Mr. Figueredo.
Aye.
Mr. Rhines, aye.
Jeff abstains.
Mr. Cavallo. Mr. Cavallo abstains. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
At this time, we're going to entertain correspondence. Mrs. Easterday, do we have any correspondence?
I have no correspondence at this time.
Do we have any public input, Mrs. Easterday?
Double check one more time. No public input at this time.
Hearing no public input, gentlemen, just a reminder, we are now on our summer schedule. Please get together with our office manager to get a copy, or she can PDF it to you for our summer schedule. So our next meeting date, just for confirmation again, gentlemen, is July 1/5 of 2020. We always convene usually at 6 p.m. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
In your second.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded by Mr. Cavallo. Any further discussion on adjournment? There is none. Let's vote. Mr. Boner.
Aye.
Mr. Figueredo.
Aye.
Mr. Cavallo.
Aye.
Mr. Rhines, aye. Before we adjourn, gentlemen, I'd just like to welcome our new member, Mr. Jeffrey Cavallo. We look forward to working with you. We have a great composition of a board, and I think you're going to enjoy this.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Today, thank you. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
All right.
Have a
good
great
night.
evening. Everyone stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Cable, thank you as always, Cable. Thank you.